أنا جاعل البيت الحرام مثابة للمطربين، أنا البغي الفاجر. أنا جاعل البيت الحرام مثابة للمطربين، أنا البغي الفاجر.
بوتين يطلبني خلال تواجدي بسرير خامنئي فأربك حقا، وأنا نتنياهو يديه ورجله، أنا بعضه ولقد أكون البضعة، ولقد أكون البضعة، ولقد أكون البضعة.
If we pluck from her rejection of flowers and sanctify her light, that occurred because what is not fully comprehended does not leave some of it. 3 pictures from the life of Omar, my son Abdelazim. As for the first of these pictures, he told us, I delivered in dinars the scholar of the city and the judge. Her sheikh said, I came before the caliph of the Muslims, Omar ibn Abdulazim, who is in the city of Nazareth, from the works of Aleppo. My age is between me and his meeting with the covenant, and I found him at the top of the house, but I do not know him because his condition changed from what he was in charge of. On the day he was a governor of Medina, he welcomed me and said, Come near me, Abu Hazim, and when I approached him, I said, Are you not the commander of the faithful, Omar ibn Abdulaziz? He told us, so I said, What happened to you? Was not your face beautiful and your skin and skin diagonal awareness? Thank you. My brother? He said, Yes, so I said, What changed your mind, after I became possession of yellow and white and became a prince of the believers? What has changed by Abu Hazim? So I said, A sack of those who are responsible, and the dread of Doc, who was afraid, and your face that blew, and your eyes, which he cried and said, How can you if you see me in my grave after 3 days, and my eyes have asked on my cheeks and my stomach is dirty? And the cracks of the tutu shot, in which civilians shout, that if you saw me that, O Abu Hazim, you would be the strongest denial of the Libyan today all this. Then he raised his eyes to him and said, Did you not remember a hadith you were talking to me in Medina, O Abu Hazim? I said, I told you many hadiths. Routinely commander of the faithful, to which do you mean? He said, No, he said, No, narrated by Abu Hurairah, so I said, Yes, I remember it, he is, O commander of the faithful, so he said, I want to hear it from you. So I said I heard Abu Hurairah say, I heard the messenger of God. May God's with him to split his bitterness, then the cuff of his tears was cuffing, and he turned to me and said, Will Abu Hazim follow me if I lowered myself to that? The obstacle, please survive it. I do not think that the second image is one of Omar's life, and Al-Tabari narrates it to us. On the authority of Al-Tufayli bin Murdaz, he says that the commander of the faithful, Umar ibn Abdulaziz, when the ruler of the caliphate wrote to Sulayman bin Abi al-Siri, on the picture and the formulation or region in Central Asia, a book in which he said, Take in your country the Muslims, and he set up hotels that he had ordered to set up. People in the east and west of Islamic countries talk about it and praise the caliph's justice and piety, so it was not one of the faces of the people of Samarkand, except that the sons of Suleiman came to the governor of Saria and said that your predecessor had killed the son of Muslim al-Bali. He invaded our country without warning and did not follow in our war what the Muslims were taking to him, and we knew that you invite your enemies to enter. In Islam, Abu appointed their call to pay the tribute, for Abu declared him to fight, and if we saw the justice of the caliph. How many and the most important of my purposes are carried out by complaining to you by your army and eradicating you for what a commander of your forces sent down to us? The prince has a delegation of us to delegate to a caliph and to lift the injustice that has befallen us. If you have a right, we give. If we did not return from where the work went, Then Solomon authorized a delegation of them to come to the caliph in Damascus, and when they became in the caliphate house, they raised their matter to the caliph of the Muslims, Umar, my son, Abd al-Azim. So the caliph wrote a letter to Wani Suleiman in which he did not. After that, if my book of this counsel came to the people of Samarkand as a judge to look into their complaints, I made an order for them to order the Muslim army to leave, and let the Muslims residing among them to flee from them, promises as you were, and they were before they entered their homes. Al-Bali Muslims booklets. When the delegation came to Suleiman and paid him the writing of the commander of the faithful, Omar, I would not sit for them. The judge of the judges, the two attacks in Aden, the refugees were present. He looked at Shabwa and they investigated a new story and heard the testimony of a group of Muslims. And they led them, but he found out the validity of his claim, and he ruled about that when the governor ordered the Muslims to vacate them and their homes to return to their camps and to fight them again. Either they enter their country, a peace, either a war will win it or that whoever Fatah did not write to him. When he heard the faces of the nationalist, the ruling of the Muslim judges judged for them and said some of them to each other and ruled, you disagreed. These people, and you stayed with them, and I saw their path, isolation, and truthfulness of what I saw, so they stayed with you, and they were good in cohabitation. They decided to accompany them, so the people of Samarkand converted to Islam because of the Muslims' sincerity, loyalty and sincerity. Caliph H.M. and amended. As for the third picture of Umar's life, may God be pleased with him, it was narrated by Ibn Abd al-Hakam in his book, Al-Nafis, named in the response of Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz to say that when Umar attended the death, a Muslim bin Abdul Malik entered upon him and said, O Commander of the Faithful, you have fascinated the mouths of your children from this water, so it would be nice if you recommended it to him or to what you prefer from the people of your household. He ended his speech. Omar said, Sit down, Syrian. Sit down. And he said, You have heard your article, O Islam, as for your saying that I have died and its mouth my children from this money, because by God, I never really forbade them, it is for them, and I did not have to give them something that is not theirs. As for your saying if recommended with them to him or to what you prefer from the people of your household, for there is a guardian in them by God who revealed the book with the truth and he is in charge. Righteous and universal Muslims have embraced Islam, and that the children of one of the two men, either a good and masterful man in Sydney, would he please and make him who he ordered a way out. Either a righteous man lied about sins, so I should not be the first to support him with money for a sin because a family. Then he said, Call me to me, so they called them, when they were 10 children, and when he saw them, his eyes became tender and tears. A young man himself left them a family who had nothing for them and cried silently and then all to them and said, What alternative I am? I left a lot of good for you, because you do not pass by any of the Muslims or their people to serve them unless I see him that you have a right over them. O man, you have a choice between two things. Either you use it, and Abu Krom enters the fire, or it becomes poor and enters heaven. I do not think except that you provoke saving you from the fire on singing. Then he looked at them in kindness and said, To most of you, God is the strength, may God grant you. So a Muslim woman turned to him and said to me, What is better than that, Commander of the Faithful? And he said, What is? He said, I had 300,000 dinars and that I plundered it for you to divide it among them or give it charity if anything. He said, He has a life or better than that, O Muslims. So he said, What is it, O Commander of the Faithful? He wrestled with death and the time of honor and th.